Hey guys, this is Hell Hades, this is our raid Shadow Legends video. We're back on the test server. We're going to try out this new fusion champion. It'd be unfair for me not to put a video out, bearing in mind a lot of people are still a little bit unsure. So let's go through Morrigaine. I love her skin. I love the visual of this champion. She looks a little bit chilly underwater there. She's weighed down, this banshee, this witch. But yeah, actually very cool visual. Good effort on that. Let's talk about her skill set. She's got a decreased speed on her A1, books to 70% chance. I've said this a number of times, but I really feel like this should be books to 100%. For her to be a legendary, playing with the big boys, I feel like 100%, because this is a real kind of key part of her skill. Yeah, I really feel like this should just be books up to 100%. Then her value goes up actually quite a lot. The A2, books to 100% chance of stealing all buffs from a target, and then places true fear on all enemies. You need accuracy to make that work. Yeah, will place a decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns instead if it's a boss, which is an okay ability here. But yeah, I think stealing buffs from an enemy is cool. I think a true fear across all enemies can be good for wave-based content. And the decreased accuracy on a boss, yeah, okay. I feel like the decreased accuracy plus decreased speed is like directly Iron Twins. Yeah, but because this is not 100% chance to land, it devalues her a lot for Iron Twins when you've got someone like a Kurzad, a Void Rare that's doing it better. So, yeah, it just seems a bit sucky. Anyway, not a bad A2, though. We're going to try this out in some different content. And then we've got the A3 here, which is a cool ability. So, books to 4 turn, which is okay. 100% chance if booked. This is like necessary, I think. She needs the A3 book to be really effective. 100% chance if booked of dropping enemies' turn meters by 20% and filling, and this is going to happen anyway, but filling your turn meter by 20. So actually that's a massive swing of turn meter. It means that you can set your nukers up in arena to do a lot of damage and still get the hits away. This is a cool ability. Gives her increased speed buff as well. So yeah, Morrigaine's A3 is actually top tier. I think it's a top tier ability in the game. She's got this kind of weird passive. So at the start of a turn, we'll place heal reduction for 2 turns against one enemy with the lowest HP. If this was all enemies, I'd prefer it because then it would be useful in Agref. But because it's only one enemy, pretty much the only situation where I feel like this is going to be good is if you've got a very tanky, annoying type of healer in arena. Yeah, so if you've got someone like a Vogoth, you've got someone like a Withir especially, actually, because this debuff cannot be removed, transferred, spread, it's just going to stick. So if you've got a Withir consistently kind of like regen in health, unkillable as a champion, well, actually, Morrigaine is a straight counter to her. But outside of that, I feel like it's an extremely niche use case. One of the things that makes me a bit sad is her aura. I've said this a few times. So her aura is a 19%. Yeah, and it's the same as, you know, like a Duchess is a 19%. There's quite a few out there. All battles, quite a few people have a 19%. But if you look at other kind of like speed-focused champions, yeah, like a Lysandra, turn meter stuff going on, speed up. Yeah, she gets a 24. And I felt like this champion should also have had the 24 because she is all about speed and turn meter. The trouble here is we need 2 things. A bit like with Lysandra. Lysandra's the same type of champion here. We need a lot of speed and we need a lot of accuracy. Yeah, we need those 2 things together to really make her shine. So we're going to be pumping her full of speed, try and get her accuracy up at the same time. And then we're going to dive in and see what we can do. So I think in terms of masteries, you've got a couple of options really. You either go for this type of build where we're making sure that she lands her stuff. Yeah, so we get the increased accuracy here. We get the turn meter kind of reduction here on enemies. We've got a better chance to land our decreased speed with the support tree. And then this just helps her stay alive. Yeah, so we're not trying to do damage with her. We're just trying to keep her alive. If you were trying to make her all about turn meter boost, then you would probably go for timely intervention over the increased accuracy. But I feel like she needs her accuracy for her kit a lot. So I definitely feel like this is a better option. If you were just going to use her in kind of like dungeon content, that type of stuff, then you would probably actually switch to more like a War Master type build and just use the support tree as a secondary tree. I feel like if you're going to treat her as a specialist that's going to do a job, then this build would be my kind of go-to build. Now, as I say, I feel like the A3 needs to be booked. So I would be going 3 books at a time, trying to land them in the A3. I do also kind of want this debuff chance on the A2 as well, if I'm going to use her for that kind of true fear. The A1, I care a lot less about because I feel like it's not consistent enough anyway. But as it goes, on this set of RNG, I'm landing nothing where I want it. So I'm ended up booking her to full. In fact, there ends up being one more book. If I was being really frugal, I don't need to on the test server, obviously, but if I was being really frugal, I wouldn't book her to full at that point. But I'm a free to play, I probably wouldn't. But it's up to you in terms of how many books and stuff that you've got. And then when we're looking at gearing, ideally I'm looking for an accuracy banner with as much speed on it as I can get. So I'm basically picking out the one that I've got with the most speed. I thought I'd have more speed ones than this, actually. 12. It's really pretty slim pickings, honestly. So it's going to end up being this one. Just trying to pick out speed and accuracy together. And then on the amulet, probably looking for defensive stats because I'm not using her as a damage dealer, HP or defense. And then I'm just looking for multiple rolls of accuracy together. So I'm hoping to land, maybe like double roll or a triple roll and bring that one through as my kind of main amulet, because I just need to get as much accuracy together in the bottom set so I can then exploit the top set even more. So we go like this. And then in the top set of gear, you've got some choices. So I think you can either go speed gear through and through, but make sure you've got accuracy on your pieces. That way you're going to get to your highest potential speed. She does have a high base speed, 112. So you can get her to go first in the arena potentially, albeit I don't know if that's her best thing. I almost feel like you almost want somebody else to go first, a raw speed champion to go first, and then she goes second with a massive amount of accuracy to make sure she lands the decreased turn meter bit here. That's the way I would think. If you were playing her like a real, towards like gold 5 and above, you probably would have someone like Arbiter just pump speed through and through and have a better speed aura. And then Arbiter would then flow into Morrigaine, who needs this kind of like speed plus accuracy hybrid build. So in this setup I'm going to do today, I'm actually going to have her as my fastest champion. So not the optimal setup, I'd say. As I say, Arbiter would be better going before her, but fastest champion Morrigaine. So I've gone for speed rolls with accuracy together in speed gear. If I was having her as a secondary champion, so someone like an Arbiter going first or a Sifi going fastest, and her coming in second, I would probably go 6-piece perception gear so that I just get tons more accuracy for my hits. Because as it is, a 520, 530 odd accuracy probably wouldn't do the job against like a resistance style team. But for most people, this should be fine. And then you would just make sure that you glyph out your accuracy and your speed. And you'll see here, I'm actually running an accuracy chest to make sure that I get that real value of her kit. We've also tried to head towards defensive stats otherwise, because I haven't got a build to do any sort of damage. Okay, so let's show you the full team then. So we've got Morrigaine here as our speed booster. We're going to try and go speed into speed and increased defense, and that's going to be through, this is an arena team, this is going to be through Doomscreech, into a drop defense champion who we're going to use Madame for. Yeah, so we just got Madame, high accuracy again, high, at the right speed that she comes in third spot. And then I'm going to try and then go back into Morrigaine again to use her control ability, because we're able to push their turn meter back and we've got a couple of speed boosters. I think we can actually run our nuker incredibly slow. So we're going to try out Fortus, who's had the buff recently. We're going to hope that his A3 now does a bit of work. Saf's done some kind of maths jiggery pokery on this. He thinks it's still not right, and he's done a video on that. If you want to check that out on a HH Gaming video, you can. But we have got ourselves a Fortus fully booked with Savage gear on, so he's ignoring more defense. He's got 6.4k defense, 278% crit damage, and his A3, if you get it unlocked, basically you've got here, ignores 30% of the target's defense against people with fear or true fear. As long as she puts out a fear or true fear, each time she does it, there's a 40% chance this will be unlocked. So it should be. Yeah, and it increases by 10% for every time fear or true fear is placed. So, I mean, she should place it 4 times. That should give us 40% more damage, and we're ignoring defense, and we've got Savage gear on, and we've got Helm Smasher, sorry. If this doesn't kill stuff, then he is going to be living in the vault. Who should we try first? I don't really want to tackle Torments. I don't have a team to do that. Let's try this one here. Adard. It's actually a fairly high resistance team. So, again, because we needed those extra stats, let's see if it works. All I've done for team setup, just to force the abilities I want. I'm going to just tell them to force his A3. Madame's A3. Doomscreech is A2. Morrigaine, do your A3 and then A2. So we can go on full auto here. And we need Fortress to be smashing with this ability. If not, then one of the main purposes of doing this is not going to work. Drop defense everywhere. We've got fears everywhere. He nukes everyone apart from Duchess, where he doesn't even half health. We're getting that heal reduction coming on. I don't know, it's kind of half works. I would like to see Fortress one-shot that team. If he was going to be like someone who was strong enough as a Void Legendary, with that setup, that should be a one-shot. Are we going to get away against this team? Let's try. This is a nasty team. Like these, I'm in plat, in the test server. Everyone's got nasty defenses here. So this might just be straight up correct. In fact, we are. She's just locked us out. Without a speed lead, they've beaten us in the speed race. Let's check out YST. A lot of these teams are very high resistance, so it's quite hard to see if we're doing the job right. Plus, a lot of them have got stone skin and stuff on as well. Here we go, though. We're cycling through our abilities. We've got True Fear on 2. Oh, it's just such a weak hit. Fortus. Considering the setup, it's very weak. And I really thought she could be someone that might just enable him to be very cool. But actually, she's not enabling a lot there. That's a sad, sad thing to see. I mean, yeah, there were some resistances to the fears. So I'm going to lose a bit of damage from that. But honestly, we should be killing him. Am I going to be quick enough to deal with this? How fast is Nubs on his arena team? He's quicker than we are, so Morrigaine then pushes us back. Now we're doing the same back to them, but it's too late because we've already got all of the nasty stuff on us. And we're true feared. And we're dead. So yeah, so at this level, it's very difficult. This type of team isn't quite cutting it at this level because we're either up against very high resistance people like this, who we're not landing all of our debuffs on because our accuracy is just not high enough. Plus, Fortus is just not hitting for enough damage. So I guess we've got two things I'm showing you here. One, Morrigaine, where she's actually good or where she could be useful, but it's not quite cutting it versus the kind of higher level players. Now, if you're playing, anywhere up to gold 5, she could come in and she could do a job definitely for you as a speed kind of lead or as a speed up champion. And then you would run through a normal type of cycle of champions going behind it. Not too dissimilar to what I'm doing here. But at the highest level against really good teams, she just doesn't cut it because she needs too much. She needs too much on her own, which means that she ends up being like a secondary type of champion. And honestly, there's not enough space for her in one of those teams. You just don't have room for another person that doesn't offer a bit more than she does. So she's okay in this scenario. Fortus is a real big waste, honestly. A real big, it just should be better. He should be better at this point, given the amount we're kind of pumping into him. He's hitting through his AoE, A2. It's okay damage. The cool thing about him, I guess, is he does have a second chance. Like if he dies, he's at least going to get back up. His A1 does an okay amount of damage. We can see here, there he goes. He's done his kind of like death. I'm having a bit of a nap. He would have feared him if he could, if he had accuracy and stuff, but we're already coming up for a 2-minute fight here. And all he's doing is taking a nice old juicy nap in the background. Wake up, Fortus. Void Legendary. Have a wake up. Get involved. Please. Do something big. Useless. So let's check Morrigaine out elsewhere. Wake up, Fortus. On camera. Do something good. So taking her outside of the arena, the only change I would make really is I'm pushing an HP chest, or you could go defensive chest onto her and keeping the speed levels good, keeping the accuracy high, but just giving her more survivability. And then we would kind of test her in some of the higher level, not normal, some of the higher level Doom Tower waves. Yeah, so I think she could come in and help you try and control some of these annoying champions, especially if you don't have like a Seer Destruction team. And the Seer team is definitely the best in this sort of scenario. But if you don't have that, she's bringing your speed in all battles. She's going to bring some control. She's going to bring not really any damage, but she's going to bring that fear, and she's going to kind of keep you moving fast. So if we do this, perhaps we'll bring in a Lydia for drop defense. We could bring in Mishinaki, maybe. Or we'll just go, maybe we go a bit more normal. Here we go. I'm determined to put Fortress to work, so he's coming into this team as well. But drop defense and weaken. We've got Seal just kind of doing her stunnage, so a secondary form of control. Godseeker just in here as an extra champion, really, another defensive type champ. So we're pushing back their turn meter, giving us more time to get work done. There comes some stuns, so we've got a decent amount of stunnage going on. Then the fears are in. Fortress does a bit of work here, thank the Lord. He did kill himself at the same time, but he's having a bit of a wake up, so he's fine. And then we're kind of back into the fight. These are actually quite an annoying wave. I picked one at random, but this is one of the more annoying ones. And obviously we're healing back up there. We get onto wave 2. Again, we're pushing back their turn meter. It's on a reasonably low cooldown. Kind of getting ourselves back into this point where we need control. Stuns come in. Fears go out there as well. Fortress wakes up. Kills himself again. But at least we can revive, and we've got Seal, and we move on. So I feel like this is a genuine place where she's actually good. Yeah, this, if you're struggling with Doom Tower waves at a higher level, her plus Seal together is probably enough to fully control enemies. If you had a Sylar as well, honestly, Sylar does a similar job to what she's doing here if you put Sylar in a stun set. But these fears, they are good. Fortress, have another rest. He's down again. But yeah, this is where she can come in and she can genuinely actually help you. If you did pick up Fortress, he's not bad in this content as long as he's not having a nap at the same time. And you kind of move on. We don't actually have Dark Fae on the rotation for Doom Tower, but she would actually be a good Dark Fae champion. Decreased speed, decreased accuracy in her kit, and turn meter fill for you. So that is someone that can come in and help you with Dark Fae for sure. Also, because if she's going fast enough, she'll go first, push back the equivalent of you and your turn meter so that it just gives the rest of your team loads of time to get the job done. Kind of like what you would do with Lissandra or Deacon at the moment if you've got those champions. I don't think there's many other bosses here where she's kind of like a surefire, should be in your team. But she could be in your team for any of them. Yeah, any speed champion can actually come in and help you. Obviously, the ones where you can turn meter control, like Borgoth, she would actually be pretty damn solid here for turn meter controlling and doing decreased speed. The same really with any of the bosses where you can do speed control. Not the dragons, but pretty much any of the other ones. So she's going to be decent there. Faction Wars, it's not open for me on the test server, annoyingly. But again, any type of speed control champion is going to be good in Faction Wars, especially one that's going to bring an AoE True Fear. So she's definitely going to be solid in that type of content. Pretty much exactly what we've just seen there in Doom Tower. She would do the same job in Faction Wars as well. So I think she's going to end up being just kind of like the mid-game jack of all trades, pretty much master of none, I would say. She doesn't bring anything for bosses which are specifically great. She will be good in a spider team, especially in an HP burn spider team. So, I mean, it doesn't need the triple cold heart. Basically, all you do is you'd have turn meter control, burner. She's also going to do the true fears on the spiderlings. So maybe we'll take one of these out or two of these out and just put in someone a bit more normal. In fact, Ruella could be damn good actually in this fight now. She's going to be really good in Fire Knight. I think she's going to be good here as well because unlike Allure, she focuses in on her... There she was. She focuses in on her turn meter drop on her A1. So it's actually going to be really solid. And then just somebody else who's going to do turn meter control or control of the spiderlings is going to be useful here. So even someone like an Armiger, a trusted old friend, can come in and this should be job done. So going on 24 because of affinity. This is a nice little edit I've done because actually Armiger didn't drop any turn meter in my first recording. So we push back turn meter with the A3. We then did a burnout there. We got turn meter drops now happening because we're on a better affinity. Ruella pushes forward our turn meter as well. She's actually a very cool champion for this. Obviously, Cold Heart does Cold Heart things. We got decreased speed from her main ability here. We get the drop defense and weaken from Ruella, which we don't necessarily need, but it's pretty cool. And then there's a 50-50 chance that the True Fears go off and the Spiderlings don't actually attack. Now, honestly, freeze, stun is just a way better control mechanism than using True Fear, because True Fear is just not consistent enough. As we can see, we're dead because True Fears are not stopping the Spiderlings 100% of the time. If you've got somebody like a I don't know, Astralon doing that 100% stun, it's just way better. If you've got someone like an Achak doing the 95% chance to land your freeze, much better. Yeah, because True Fear, I mean, this time round we've lost. Yeah, and I'd imagine if we ran the same run again, we'll probably win more times than we lose. But it's RNG. You're kind of letting, and that's why I don't love Fear and True Fear as a debuff, honestly, because it's just a little bit inconsistent. You're hoping for it to happen rather than it actually happening. Like right now, all the Spiderlings have got it on. We've got, what, 10 or 11 or whatever, 50-50 chances of doing a load of damage without taking any damage. But so far, we've lost it. Then we win a couple. Yeah, this time round, RNG's been much more in our favor. And we've not lost the Armada straight away. Yeah, which means that our Mordecai is not dying yet. So, and that's kind of what you're up against, really, with using Fear or True Fear as your kind of main debuff setup. But again, like for people that are trying to progress and haven't been able to beat the Spider yet, well, it's actually better than not having any control at all. A lot better. That 50-50 is way better than no control. But eventually, you will update your account and you'll get yourself those champions that actually just do the job a bit better. And, you know, someone like Morrigaine, I fear, will end up being a little bit of a, she's going in the bin. But there you go, guys. I think a lot of areas she's going to be solid, especially if you're moving through the mid game. She'll be in almost every team that you run. But when you get yourself to late game, like my main account, I don't feel like she squeezes into any of my teams. Anyway, I've been Hell Hades. Porters is still sucking. Morrigaine's bang average. I'll see you later.